Imagine a civilization capable of building monuments so grand that to this day, scientists cannot fully explain how they were erected. Ancient Egypt is not just the land of pyramids and pharaohs, but a veritable treasure trove of secrets and mysteries. Did you know, for example, that Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid? That's right. Get ready, because in this video, we'll explore the most fascinating curiosities about ancient Egypt, revealing traditions, customs, and secrets that still amaze the world. The Great Pyramid of Giza is one of humanity's greatest enigmas. Built over 4,500 years ago, it was constructed with stone blocks weighing up to 80 tons. Most impressively, even without modern machinery, its precision is so exact that not even a sheet of paper fits between some of the blocks. Many scholars believe this architectural perfection surpasses even some modern buildings. Even today, theories abound as to how they achieved this monumental feat, and no answer is entirely definitive. When we think of Cleopatra, we usually imagine her as an extremely ancient figure. But here's a surprising fact. Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, which means her time is closer to the creation of the iPhone in 2007 than to the construction of the Great Pyramid, which occurred about 2,500 years before she was born. This demonstrates just how long Egypt's history has been, spanning millennia with different dynasties, conquests, and transformations. Egyptian hieroglyphs are one of the most fascinating forms of writing in the ancient world. With over 700 symbols, they were used not only for communication, but also to convey power and spirituality. For centuries, no one could decipher them, until the famous Rosetta stone was discovered in 1799. This artifact, containing the same text in 3 different languages, allowed scholars to finally unlock the secrets of Egyptian writing and better understand their culture. The Egyptians strongly believed in an afterlife, and so they developed the practice of mummification. They preserved their bodies so efficiently that, thousands of years later, mummies can still be found in excellent condition. The process involved removing the organs, which were stored in special jars called canopic jars, and using resins and bandages to protect the body from the elements. This tradition was not only religious but also a way to ensure the eternity of the spirit. Although ancient, the Egyptians possessed impressive medical knowledge. They performed surgeries, created prosthetics, and recorded treatments for various diseases in medical papyri, some dating back more than 3,000 years. They used honey as a natural antibiotic, herbs to relieve pain, and even suturing techniques to close wounds. This knowledge was so advanced that it influenced the medical practices of later peoples, such as the Greeks and Romans. No other element was as important to ancient Egypt as the Nile River. It was considered a gift from the gods, as its annual floods fertilized the land and ensured abundant harvests in the middle of the desert. Thanks to the Nile, the Egyptians developed irrigation techniques and built one of the world's first organized agricultural economies. Without it, Egypt would likely never have become the powerful civilization we know today. The Egyptians had a strong spiritual connection with animals. The cat, for example, was considered a symbol of protection and luck. They believed cats warded off evil spirits and even mummified them to accompany them into the afterlife. In addition to cats, animals such as the falcon, the scarab beetle, and the jackal played important symbolic roles, representing gods and forces of nature in the Egyptian pantheon. The pharaohs were not just rulers, they were seen as living gods. The people believed they had the power to intercede with the gods and maintain order in the universe. To reinforce this divine image, the pharaohs wore crowns and sacred symbols, in addition to commanding monumental constructions that immortalized their names. This aura of divinity made their authority absolute, controlling both politics and religion. Among the most fascinating artifacts of ancient Egypt is the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and prayers that guided souls on the path to the afterlife. This book was placed with mummies to help them face divine judgments and achieve eternity. Each copy was personalized, reflecting the beliefs and desires of the buried person. This detail shows how deeply intertwined religion and the afterlife were in Egyptian culture. One of the most intriguing beliefs of ancient Egypt was the judgment of souls. They believed that, after death, a person's heart would be placed on a scale before the god Anubis and compared with the feather of the goddess Mat, a symbol of truth and justice. If the heart was lighter, the soul was considered pure and could enter paradise. But if it were heavier, it would be devoured by Ammit, a monstrous being with the body of a lion, the head of a crocodile, and the paws of a hippopotamus. This vision shows how fundamental ethics and morality were to the Egyptians. Obelisks, monuments shaped like tapered towers, emerged in Egypt as symbols of the sun and eternity. They were built from single blocks of stone and dedicated to the gods. Interestingly, centuries later, many of these obelisks were transported to other parts of the world, such as Rome, Paris, London, and even New York. This demonstrates the lasting influence of Egyptian culture, which continues to be felt in monuments that still attract thousands of tourists in different countries. The Egyptians were true pioneers in the use of perfumes and cosmetics. They believed that keeping the body clean and fragrant was not only a matter of hygiene, but also of spirituality. Women and men wore eye makeup made of charcoal and malachite, both to protect against infection and to symbolize power. Furthermore, Egypt was one of the first places to develop refined fragrances, many of which have inspired perfume recipes used to this day. Gold has always had a special connection with the Egyptians. For them, this metal not only represented wealth, but was also considered the flesh of the gods. The tombs of the pharaohs were covered in gold, including funerary masks like the famous mask of Tutankhamun, which still impresses with its beauty and perfection. This fascination with gold helped Egypt become a center of power and trade in ancient times, as well as creating a legacy that inspires archaeologists to this day. The Egyptians' astronomical knowledge was astonishing. They observed the sky with such precision that they were able to create a 365-day solar calendar, very similar to the one we use today. Furthermore, the position of the pyramids at Giza is believed to have aligned with the stars of the constellation Orion, which represented Osiris, the god of the afterlife. This connection between heaven and earth demonstrates how spirituality and science intertwined in ancient Egypt. Unlike many ancient civilizations, women in Egypt had significant rights. They could inherit property, manage businesses, file for divorce, and even hold prominent positions. Cleopatra and Hatshepsut are examples of women who rose to the highest rank, ruling as pharaohs. This unique social position demonstrates how Egypt valued the female presence, something very advanced for the time. Among the most curious archaeological finds from ancient Egypt are the love letters. Written on papyrus, they reveal that romanticism was already a part of daily life thousands of years ago. Some of these letters describe intense feelings, secret encounters, and even passionate poems. This shows that, despite the grandeur of the pyramids and the power of the pharaohs, the Egyptians also had concerns and emotions very similar to ours today. Pharaoh Tutankhamun became world famous after the discovery of his tomb in 1922 by archaeologist Howard Carter. Unlike other pharaohs, his tomb was virtually intact, filled with priceless treasures. But what truly intrigues historians is his premature death at the age of 18. There are several theories: accident, murder, genetic disease. To this day, his story is shrouded in mystery, and his tomb remains one of the most impressive discoveries in archaeology. Egyptian architecture wasn't limited to the pyramids. Grand temples, such as those at Karnak and Luxor, impress with their size and symmetry. Furthermore, engineering techniques used by the Egyptians served as the basis for construction in other civilizations. They developed gigantic columns, obelisks, and monumental sculptures that inspire architects to this day. The grandeur of their works demonstrates not only power, but also the pursuit of eternity. Ancient Egypt is much more than pyramids and mummies. It is a universe of mysteries, scientific advances, and stories that continue to amaze us. From the judgment of souls to refined perfumes, this civilization left a legacy that still influences the modern world. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these curiosities impressed you the most? Leave your answer in the comments, like the video to support our work, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more incredible stories like this. Egypt has kept secrets for millennia, and together we will continue to explore each of them.